So obviously on December 23rd, on the day of the Reckoning undercard, it is Daniel Dubois versus Jarrell Miller. And this is an interesting one. And personally, I still believe that Jarrell Miller is juiced up to the gills. He is. I honestly feel like he is coming into this fight, and this could end Daniel Dubois' career. I'm not saying that Dubois is going to lose this fight, but Jarrell Miller, could be juiced up. He might not be on the same things that he was on because, I've heard many things with some fighters even have said, I've heard a fighter say this before actually, that fighters, there's certain drugs that they take, which they talk to doctors about, but they still aren't able to get caught when they take these certain drugs. Some boxers are on them, and Jarrell Miller is definitely one of them. First of all, I'm going to get into a bit more in a minute, but let's have a look here at this face-off. First of all, you look at the pecs of Jarrell Miller. How many people do you see who have pecs like that? Like, just pecs fully just coming out, like, how many people do you see with pecs like that? And that right there is a sign of some kind of steroids, or performance-enhancing drugs, whatever you want to say. Pec enlargement or something. Well, when your pecs are bigger, it's a big sign. It's a big sign. It's like Adesanya in the UFC, who has one pec bigger than the other. He's definitely juiced up. Jarrell Miller, but no, these are just another level. Honestly, they are massive, man. Massive. People might say, oh yeah, it's just because of his weight. Yes, he's a ridiculously heavy guy, Jarrell Miller. But this is still unnatural. This is still very unnatural, I'm not going to lie. I feel like that plays a big part in it. I also think that, obviously, so before I say that, actually, these are the drugs that Jarrell Miller has been taken for. Jarrell Miller has actually, he's actually failed 3 drug tests. Around that, 3 or 4 anyway. I know about 3. So, obviously, first one Jarrell Miller failed was back in 2014 in his kickboxing career. So he was kickboxing, in his kickboxing career, believe it or not, he was actually a kickboxer. He tested positive for drugs there. And then, obviously, for the Anthony Joshua fight, the most well-known one, he tested positive for 3 drugs. Steroid performance-enhancing drugs. So, here we've got GW501516. That's the first one. He also tested positive for HGH and EPO. They are all the substances which he tested positive for going into that Anthony Joshua fight. So, basically, if you don't know what these are, I've done my research on them. I don't remember them off the top of my head. But yeah, so, HGH is, it says here, influencing our height and helping us build our bones and muscles. So yeah, this is why, he's a massive guy in stature, isn't he, Jarrell Miller? He's got massive muscles. Look at his arms, of course. Like, I think look at his arms compared to Dubois. Honestly, it's unreal. He's definitely juiced up coming to this fight. You can tell. He definitely is on certain things. He might not be on these exact things like HGH, but he's going to be on something else, isn't he? He is. It's obvious if you just look at him here. He is so obviously juiced up. So obviously juiced up. So yeah, HGH, it builds muscle mass and stuff like that. Then we obviously look at the GW one, the one with so many numbers. I think another name for it's like Calderine or something. So it says here, this one is stimulating fatty acid oxidation, burning fat, and increasing glucose uptake in the skeletal muscle tissue. This is which the body uses to burn fat for energy instead of muscle or carbohydrates. So basically, obviously, in quite a few of Miller's fights before that AJ fight, Miller was he was showing a good gas tank. He had a lot of energy in these fights. Then we look at some of his other fights when he's coming off of when probably he wasn't on them, tested negative, but probably was on something else anyway, which couldn't be found. But his energy was a lot lower. Like in that Lucas Brown fight, he was gassed out on after like 4 rounds. If we're being honest with you, it's clear he was on the drugs, even though he denied it. It was clear he was definitely on this GW 100 blade percent. Well, he was in all of them, wasn't he? He failed all of them, and then the other one, I think, and then the other ones, it's increasing stamina as well. So. And then he failed. So he failed the Anthony Joshua one. Then he was meant to come back and fight Jerry Forrest. Failed the drug test again. Was positive. So couldn't get that fight through. But somehow he's now suddenly been able to pull off a massive other fight against Daniel Dubois on a Saudi Arabia card, where Jarrell Miller is going to be getting paid a ridiculous amount of money. By the way, this shouldn't be happening. He should be banned from boxing for life. It shouldn't be allowed in any combat sports with what he's done and the drugs he's tested for. He's literally tested for every performance-enhancing drug under the sun. It is absolutely unbelievable. And you look at him here, he's clearly still on something. And you look at like how angry he was like at that first Anthony Joshua press conference, where he just, with a massive push to Anthony Joshua when they were having the stare down, mood swings, obviously he was clearly on them. It's been proven anyway. But I still think that Jarrell Miller is on the juice. And even though Jarrell Miller, he hasn't really got the energy, he's got ridiculously quick hands and he cuts the ring off well. He is skilled. He is well skilled. Will he have the energy here? I mean, possibly. But I feel like what he's done now is he's on those steroids that build up muscle, and he's not on a performance enhancing drug that I think increases your energy. I think he's not on that, but he's on some kind of other drug that improves your muscle. But it can't be found in the testing though. And that it is a thing. It is a thing. People say, it's not in the test to clean on something. No, that's not true. That is not true whatsoever. Some fighters talk to doctors about this kind of stuff and what drugs they could take where they're not going to actually get caught. Jarrell Miller's 100% one of them. And you just look at his pecs here and you just look at how massive the guy is. He's on something. And, he's ridiculously heavy as well. He's on drugs to try and handle all of it, all in stuff. So he's ridiculously heavy. And just the muscles he's got. Dubois could be in big trouble if he just gets hit flush. He really could be. But I think Dubois is going to be able to move better, though. Dubois got a chance, but I feel like with someone with this stature that Miller's got, it's going to be really hard to get out of there. He's just going to have to hope that Miller tires out, and let's hope that he's not on that drug that improves his stamina. Surely he won't be. It'll be too much of a giveaway, especially with how tired he's looked in his last fights, and then Miller's suddenly shoots up. But I still think he's juiced up, and it could end Daniel Dubois' career. Daniel Dubois is only 26. People like Jarrell Miller should not be allowed in the sport. He should not be allowed in the sport. He honestly shouldn't. It's a shame that Jarrell Miller is actually in the sport and allowed to get this kind of payday. He does not deserve it. Everyone else on this card deserves the payday. Jarrell Miller does not. He does not deserve to be getting this amount of money after what he's done, disrespecting the sport massively. I hope Dubois absolutely smashes him and gives him his first defeat. That's what we need. It'd be an amazing day for boxing because Jarrell Miller is basically boxing's biggest drug cheat out there. And he's juiced up for this fight. 100%, you cannot tell me otherwise. Let's see what comments are saying. The comments also say that he's juiced up. Exactly. He's juiced up. It's just, and also Miller, he actually did admit to taking before I end actually. I remember reading it earlier. He actually did admit to taking performance enhancing drugs when he was improving injuries and stuff. So he has admitted to taking them when coming back from injuries and stuff. He's definitely been on stuff in the camp. 100%. He's just to heal up. Like, even if it's the smallest injury or something, he's there just going to take something to heal up a bit. Like, I don't know. He's a dodgy fella. He's a real dodgy fella. Anyway, I'm going to end this video here. Thanks for watching the video, King. I'll speak to you on a bit. Let's go, Dubois. Anyway, thanks for watching. Peace out.